Um, Good day to everyone. I am Mary Grace O. Fuentes, and I am assigned to give a summary of Chapter 13 through a narrow window from the book entitled Silent Spring. So before we have the summary of Chapter 13, let's have the overview of the book. So this book is an environmental science book authored by Rachel Carson. This was published on September 27, 1962, documenting the adverse environmental effects caused by the indiscriminate use of pesticides. The author, Rachel Carson, accused the chemical industry of spreading disinformation and public officials of accepting the industry's marketing claims unquestioningly. Starting in the late 1950s, prior to the book's publication, Carson had focused her attention on environmental conservation, especially environmental problems that she believed were caused by synthetic pesticides. The result of her research was Silent Spring, which brought environmental concerns to the American Republic. The book was met with fierce opposition by chemical companies, but owing to the public opinion, it brought about numerous changes. It spurred a reversal in the United States national pesticide policy, led to a nationwide ban on DDT for agricultural uses, and helped to inspire an environment movement that led to the creation of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. By the way, DDT stands for dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethane. DDT will be used, or the term used most of the time in my summary. So that's it. Now let's have what is chapter 13 all about. So this is actually entitled Through a Narrow Window. So the author had narrowed or focused on the what do you call this? Um, the cellular level effect of the pesticides by the companies. So she started with the statement that if we narrow our focus, the effects of pesticides can be seen on the workings of individual cells. So she focused on the energy production inside the cell, which is happening inside the mitochondria. So energy production via cellular oxidation happens on a cellular level to fuel the body. Uncovering the secrets of this beautiful mechanism, according to Rachel Carson, is one of the wonders of the living world. And according to her, this has this is one of the most affected parts in our body or the living organism when pesticides are being used by the environment. So, according to her, radiation and synthetic chemicals both have the frightening power to uncouple the fundamental processes of producing ADP or adenosine diphosphate and ATP or adenosine triphosphate or the coupled phosphorylation, causing the body to burn itself out. This uncoupling power, which Carson calls the crowbar to wreck the wheels of oxidation, is present in many pesticides. So Carson um, emphasized that these specific processes inside the cell, specifically in the mitochondria, is being disrupted by the pesticides. Okay, the disruption of the oxidation process has an effect on fertility. So Carson also mentioned that the fertility, not just in birds, but also in humans, is being affected by the use of these pesticides. So according to her, the disruption of the oxidation process has an effect on fertility that is visible in eggs and other germ cells in animals. This might explain the sterility that has been observed in birds after exposure to DDT. If pesticides prevent ADP from coupling with a new phosphate group, respiration continues but no energy is created, so that the body uses power without creating any. So If there's no ATP or ADP being produced by the body, later on this will be consumed or burned out. Okay, so Carson also emphasized other effects of pesticides. So she returned her writings in her book on the plight of birds, recalling the sterile blue robin eggs and the larger white eagle eggs. She described it as cold and lifeless, being exposed to DDT. Observations of DDT levels in unhatched bird eggs have shown unsafe concentrations, which, according to the scientists' understanding of the oxidation process outlined above, would have disrupted the proper production of ATP and crippled development of fledglings. Because ATP is the universal currency of energy, the driving energy force in life everywhere, its disruption in other species is a sign that humans can also be affected. So, just like animals, no, we are not immune according to her. So we, it refers to the human beings, that we are not immune on the effects of DDT. Humanity's genetic heritage is also under threat in a way that mirrors the problems of radiation, which can cause mutations that are passed down over generations. Cell division or mitosis, the process by which one cell divides into two, is another universal process in the natural world that is affected by radiation and by mutagens, including common pesticides. So Carson reiterated that pesticides is one of the mutagens, no? It disrupts the functions in the cellular level. First one is in the energy production, and later on she discussed on the cellular division, uh, specifically mitosis. Anything that disrupts the accuracy of this age-old process could change the course of evolution and cause disease in individuals of a species. So that's it. Far too little is known about the effects of pesticides on cell division, but it is clear that disruptions in chromosome replication are responsible for a wide range of mental and physical illnesses. It seems absurd, according to Carson, to continue exposing ourselves to such a potentially dangerous cocktail of chemicals for so little benefit. Okay, so my analysis from the chapter. From the macro scale of entire ecosystems, Carson has narrowed her focus first to the human body and now to the functioning of individual cells. This is part of her project of education as she gives a popular voice to the work of scientists around the world. That pesticides could affect our bodies on even the cellular level is another reason for treating them with extreme caution. So according to her, these are the specific effects of those pesticides in the cellular level. Okay, disruption of production of energy cells. So it makes our cells consume the energy being created without creating any. Okay, and she proceeded with the sterility in birds and vulnerability of humans. Okay, and then the last one, she discussed about the disruption in cell division process, specifically in mitosis, because mitosis is the process in which our bodies grow and develop. So many of our, what do you call this, processes inside the body is being disrupted by the pesticides. So this is our challenge, no? Are we not responsible as a nation or even as a species for halting the advance of these dangerous chemicals? So that was the challenge. Okay, let me end my presentation. Thank you so much for viewing my presentation.